you're out.
Next split. It's a tough one.
Yeah, we have to decide we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, we absolutely.
All right, you good? You good? You good?
Yeah.
All right, here we go, man. Listen, are you getting worried that new COVID strains are gonna force you to kill your pets? Do you want to bring back words like harlot and charlatan? Did you know that male bees shoot off their penises when they have sex and then they die? And in fact, the queen bee leaves a trail of dead penis bees, like 20 at a time in a line. Now you know.
Now you know.
Coming all in, we're going all in.
I think I've heard that before.
We don't know Jack.
Welcome.
We don't know Jack.
Welcome to the show. We don't know Jack. Nico coming strong with the intro as always. Nico, run us around the room, man. Let's introduce everybody. We got a really special guest today.
Yeah, so I'll get to our guest in a moment, but just going around. Obviously, we know the ace, the producer of the show, Mr. Kevin Estala.
I like to say one thing. I'm doing the best I can, but we're live producing this right now. There's no chop. There's no edit. This is going down. I'm switching cameras, so we're doing the best we can. We're always trying to provide a great show.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Just covering my bases in case I mess up.
You gotta clean shit up before it even happens.
Well,
right?
you know, like,
Clean
here's
that
the
shit
deal,
up.
man. Before we came on, I told this dude I'm gonna dock his pay, man. We might be looking for new producers, you know. Wink, wink.
Trying to clean it up a little bit.
Yeah. And of course, the one and only Mikey Jimenez.
The king, baby,
Mike,
in the building.
What's
the
up?
building.
What's up?
Boom. And Mr. Oh man, I hit this microphone. I'm missing this camera.
Kevin's face going like, come on.
Yeah.
David Patterson,
What's up?
a longtime friend of ours.
Yeah, man.
Welcome,
Yeah.
David.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad
And,
you're here.
and we've been wanting to have you on for a while. Actually, we've mentioned this in the past. I think it just had to circle back. But
Good.
David's got a powerful story that I think would be beneficial for people to hear. I mean, it's Mikey does too. You know, I think some people hear some of that on the shows, but we definitely wanted to have David on to talk about his. So, man, we appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Appreciate it.
But Nico, real quick, on your opening statement, what was the two words?
Oh, harlot and charlatan.
Explain.
Yeah, can you
whatever.
explain that? Because that
Yeah.
one.
Hookers and
I've never
hoes.
heard that.
Yeah.
Hookers and hoes, right?
Well, a harlot, yeah, is like a promiscuous woman back in, but you know, these are
Like
words.
70s?
Yeah, well, I don't even know. That
No,
might even go back
that's
to like
earlier.
the
That's
1800s,
earlier.
right? Like the
Yeah,
18 or
before that.
1900s, right? Like when I hear those words, I think of like, you know, I don't know, British speaking people or perhaps like, you know, old westerns, you know, like.
Is that a British word?
I don't know, man, but
Let's see if we can find
I
out
don't
some
know
more
why it
information
popped
about
into my
it.
head, but I was like, dude, you know what would be a fighting word, man? If I called somebody a charlatan.
So what's the other one?
Harlan.
Harlot.
Like,
Yeah.
what if I just rolled up like old school into a bar and I just took like a white glove and I slapped somebody across the face and I was like, you charlatan, you know?
I'd fight you. I'd fight you right away.
I would be confused because I wouldn't know what that word was.
Especially if you did it to a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real. Like, what? What is that?
Yeah.
And what was the other word?
Harlot.
Harlot. And what is that?
That's like like if you're going to call it,
A hook or a hoe.
yeah.
Or prostitute.
Yeah.
They're all the
Okay.
same.
Yeah.
Did y'all know these words?
Nuh-uh.
No, Kevin?
I knew him, yeah.
You knew these?
I knew.
Like,
Well, it's good
I don't know,
information.
dude.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Crazy
Like-
stuff pops into my head. And then the next thought I had was like, you remember how like when we were growing up, people who were anti-gun used to be like, and even Kevin now was like, man, I think you should box, take it to the streets and just, you know, handle up, you know, like a man. Do it like a man. Don't bring a gun into the situation. And I was like, I don't think that makes sense because the next thought that I had after the slap in the face was they used to go out and duel with freaking pistols,
They
bro.
did. They
You know,
did.
like, like it wasn't like handle your stuff like a man, or you know, they were like, come on, man, we're gonna step 10 feet, 10 paces apart. We're gonna freaking shoot each other, you know?
And I'm always going at 9 or 2, well, no matter the count, right?
Yeah.
1, 2.
That's
I'm
a-
shooting at 2.
Yeah.
Dude, you know,
Call me a
honestly,
coward.
man, I never thought about that, but
Yeah.
but honestly, I would have to do that too.
Quick.
You know, and then anybody that calls me out, right, they're like, "That was dead wrong, sir." Like, you're dead too, bro.
That's real gangster shit right there.
Yeah.
That's some real gangster
Man,
shit.
I think we could have just run things back in the days, man. Like if you
Absolutely.
if you take our early year mentality and you put it into like the late 1800s.
Most definitely.
And you know what's messed up is that our early year mentality is when we were like 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 20, like, you know what I mean?
All the way like 22,
in that
24,
early age, which is insane. You know what I mean? Because kids nowadays,
They weren't doing the shit that we were doing.
absolutely not.
No.
Like my like I have like, you know, little nephews or cousins, and when they turn like 13 and like, you know, they're kids. You know what I mean? And at 13, I was already
They're playing video games.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, bro. I was like a Bible study leader for a group of kids from the 6th grade into the 10th grade. And then after the 10th grade, I handed them off to somebody else. But you're supposed to make this commitment to be their Bible study leader for all these years at this church that we were
The whole
going to.
term.
Yeah. And so when they're in junior high, they can't meet at your house, so you got to meet at the church. And we would go into these little classrooms at the church that were for basically babies and children, you know? And I could not get these dudes to sit still. They would be playing with baby toys, dude. Like them serious, like plastic bananas and grapes, and freaking like those little vacuums that have the balls that pop up.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
my kids got all that right now.
Dude, I got like junior high kids, like 7th and 8th grade, doing this, man. And every week I'm like, guys, I don't really get y'all, because when I was y'all's age, like, I'm trying to be a man.
Yeah.
And y'all are here playing with baby toys every week. So,
Society's changed.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
crazy.
for real.
Well, David, man, we appreciate you coming on. David said that he was going to be an open book, which we appreciate.
Yeah.
Most
The
definitely.
reason we appreciate that is because a lot of people that we bring on have multiple life stories. And David said, ask me whatever the fuck you want. So we're going to keep it real. We got some deep questions and some, he's a businessman too. So hopefully he'll promote his business as well.
Well, I want to get started by doing that.
Yeah,
so
let's do that
first of all, without giving us exactly how you got into the business, what is it that your business does?
Okay, well, I mean, let me give you a little background first. So I'll tell you in a nutshell. So basically, in 2013, I used to work for a web development company, and their sister company sold trade show displays. They were like a reseller for another exhibit house. I started taking on another job because the web development really wasn't going well. It's just sales. So I started selling trade show displays, and then I would tell the person that I was married to at the time, basically I enjoyed doing it. And I started taking a liking into it. And I wasn't a designer, but I could start seeing like the aspects of that. But so much the sales, you know what I mean? So you have something in a 3D render format, and then you sell it and you build off that and you bring it to life. It's like your baby, right? That's how I look at it. It gives you enjoyment, gives you fulfillment. So I started doing that. And then I was basically forced to start my own company. So basically what I do is I design, build, and sell trade show displays for events and conferences. You come to me, you're saying, hey, we have this idea for whatever size, 10 by 10, 20 by 20. We want these aspects, and we need TVs, we need towers, we need a light box back wall. I'll go off that. My team will get together and literally build that on a render, get it approved, and build off that render. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so I've seen some of these go up in the whole rendering process, and being in the furniture design, I understand exactly what you mean of, concept to, the full install and final product. But just watching these things go up in the warehouse that you have is just amazing to see, like, it be created. And these aren't like small exhibits. These are not like 12 by 12 boxes. These are giant things that you'd see at a car show. I mean, some really elaborate stuff.
Yeah, the cool thing is that you do small ones also.
I do
you
small
want
ones
it.
as well, yeah.
Because me and David met up for our bridal extravaganza, our big show that we
Double
do.
Oaks.
Yeah, for Double Oak events.
We met up last June.
Yeah, and then whenever, like, July was that show, and at that time, I was going a different route. And then at the show, I saw a couple of other ones, and I was like, oh, shit. So now for my next one, it just makes a lot more sense to do
Exactly.
One through you, because it's portable. It's easier to set up. Because I'm taking in all fucking big. It's just a lot.
I've seen your stuff on
social
media.
Yeah, it's just a lot of stuff. So to have something like that, I think it's.
And the portable ones are they're my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Dude, and your designs are so good.
Business name, plug it.
Exhibit Boss.
It's in the description.
Is
We'll
it-
have
do
the
you,
links.
Do you have like an Instagram page?
I got a Facebook page. I got a website, Twitter page.
Okay.
I need to do an Instagram because that's when I first started off, Instagram wasn't really that popular, but now it is. But I do promote it on my Instagram page. Yeah, so it's David_Patterson79.
We'll have all that in the links.
Yeah, and then we'll have them redo that at the end too. So, man, that business is like heavily relies upon obviously conferences and conventions.
Yes.
And so, man, when the pandemic hit,
Oh shit!
like,
Oh shit.
like there's no large gatherings. Like there is no conferences in my business. Like for 3 years in a row, we canceled the 2 large events where people come together from all across the country, to see each other and to have business meetings, and these are huge events. So I knew, like, man, David.
So let me give a little rundown on that. So I was in New York, March of 20, and I flew back home. And the day that I got back home, they canceled the show that we just set up a booth for. My client called me and he said, "Hey, there's they're doing an emergency lockdown. We got to close, and I got to fly back to Colorado." I'm like, "What?" So I get home. I literally just landed, and then when they start doing all the other states, and I'm like, just like I said, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, okay, what was it, 14 days to get past the curve or whatever bullshit they were trying to push at that time. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. So I got some other shows out, and I got things in the pipeline that are working right now in production. Month went to 2, went to 3, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then I got clients calling me saying, "Hey, we want our money back." And I'm like, "You can't."
Oh man.
And I'm like, "You can't." And they're like, "No, we need our money back." And I'm like, so $30,000 back to clients. And then I had to wait for the first PPP loan. So then at that time, it was the end of May, and I'm thinking, I got to do something. You know what I mean? Like, I literally hustle. I make my own money. I don't work 9 to 5. You can relate, Kevin. You can relate. You can relate. Basically, I got to think on my feet. So I got together with a good friend of mine, Howard, that owns a company called Complete Him, and one of my render guys, and we started seeing like companies in Europe doing virtual displays.
Explain that to us.
So
man. That was crazy.
Basically, it's a 3D render, but you walk through it, so you can guide yourself through it through a mouse and stuff like that. And they can have products, and you click on the products, and there's HTML, links where it takes you back to the web page of the company, and it gives you the product information. So we had to do that.
Metaverse style?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was crazy to me when I started seeing him post that, because I was like, man, is anybody actually doing this?
It was.
So I have a question.
It did start because for us, the company that I was working for, we were about to start. It was called Virtual. It was a live streaming company.
I remember that.
Where everything was going to be live streamed, and then in that we were going to do a show that was like that, where you can go in and everything was.
You go to basically you go to the show's website, you upload all your files, and they plug it all in. People from around the world get on the show, and then they can, almost like they're at a show, and they're walking down the aisles, and they see the different vendors, and they
So my question is it all virtual, and then
It's
you
all
go to the
virtual.
website, or is it actually like videos through the store?
No, it's all virtual.
It's all virtual.
Yes. So I was like, okay, cool. I got another way to make money. We're gonna be good. The profit on it's pretty damn good. No, I sold probably. I'll be honest with you, I sold 5. Here's my problem that I ran into. These companies were getting PPP loans, and they didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen, so they're holding on to the money. So they're like, yeah, I'm interested. I want to do this. No, we don't know. We want to hold on to our money. So first PPP came, second one, and people they just don't know. They're scared.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, 5, and I'm living off PPP loans, and it was just a freaking nightmare. And so now what I'm seeing going on in China, in Philadelphia, I'm like, oh shit.
So that was my
I didn't
question.
even hear about Philadelphia yet. But.
That was my question, is that you were pre-COVID, you were doing great. Then COVID hit, it kind of went south.
Dead.
And then you tried the virtual thing, but COVID in Texas has kind of lifted restrictions for a while now.
Correct.
So things have been going good, coming back, and now there's another hiccup along the road is what we think.
Correct. So I'm back to pre-COVID, and
Numbers
and,
are
and
up.
pre-divorce, basically
Yeah. Okay.
killing it. I get my clients in Canada are buying, my clients in South America and here in the United States are buying. I'm doing good. They're kind of a little edgy what's going on in China, but that's a communist, country. So thank God it won't happen here, hopefully. Yeah, but when they start killing dogs and cats, we got a real big problem.
So explain that, because I just heard that today.
So
I mean, that's what I just said.
I
But
deal,
why? Like, I mean, what's happening over there?
I'm
Because I
dealing
did
with
not
some
know
people
that.
in China, and I talked to them on Skype, and literally, it started off with they have a zero COVID policy. So if one person in any of those little villages gets COVID, they lock that shit down. So then now I think what they're doing is they're fluctuating the numbers to keep them locked down because it's all about control. Granted, there might be a couple people that get COVID, blah blah blah, this new bullshit B2A variant or whatever. But now what they're doing is they're thinking that the shit's going through the animals, and they're starting to kill the dogs and cats.
Oh my God.
And then they're starving people. So now they're rioting over there because people are, and it's really happening in Shanghai. Shanghai is the port,
Right.
and that's where everything comes and goes from. It's one of their financial hubs, and they're fucking locked down. It's been a month. You can't get anything in and out.
I mean, I saw they had drones
Going up that high rise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically telling people like they can't come out. People were singing. They were telling them you can't sing. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah, you can't do shit. Like,
Yeah.
And they said something about freedom too. Like, don't worry about your freedom right now. This is necessary. I'm just like, fuck. I can't.
That's
It's
crazy.
nuts, bro. So I didn't even hear it. Philadelphia started a lockdown.
So they're doing, and they just implemented. Here's the crazy thing about it. They just implemented indoor mask mandates, but it's not taking effect till after Easter. Well, if it's that fucking bad, why wait till after Easter?
Well, we got to have some super spreaders.
Yeah, for sure. So you'll start seeing these liberal states. It'll be New York next, and then it'll be fucking
Do not
California.
tell Jared this, man. He's gonna be like, if you said.
So
to him,
I can't even talk to him anymore, and he saw me flip out of my house the other day because, man, we got a boy that's a super
conspiracy theorist.
Man, he was trying to tell me there was snake venom synthetic in the water that we were drinking.
Listen,
I saw a post about that. I see. I'm like, whatever.
Some of what he is saying, there's relevance.
I believe in it
to,
100% because
I don't know about the snake
all
venom.
conspiracies and truths. There's lies. There's always something
Some
that
type of
started
truth,
it.
yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I could see a scenario where, if you're the government that's in office right now, and you want to have another lockdown in order for votes,
To
you
keep
say
their control.
You say, let's let a couple of spreader events happen at Easter time, and then the numbers will blow up, and you'll be like, we got to go into lockdown, and now y'all got to cast your votes online.
It's all about control and power.
Yeah.
That's all it's. They don't want to lose the control.
Don't tell Jared.
Yeah, so the funny thing about it is that Jared, we love you, and I don't know if he's a conspiracy theorist. He has some really
Do I know Jared?
Grider. I don't know, you might, but he has some really wild views, and I have a lot of friends that do, and I'm open to listen to anything. But the thing is about a lot of these conspiracy theorists, guys, is that they talk so much, and I'm genuinely interested and want to ask questions, but they're just rambling the whole time. I'm like, dude, slow down and let me get a question in. I don't understand how they get recruits if the recruits can't ask questions.
Yeah.
But basically, all of y'all would definitely be impacted if we went into any type of shutdown.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it would suck.
Each one of y'all's businesses is really.
I don't think that Texas will shut
I don't
that
either.
down.
We're lucky because we're in a conservative state. What's going to hurt me is like I deal with a lot of people in liberal states and in Canada and shit like that. And then it's going to slow it down, but not to the extreme that it was in 2020. Right.
I think Texas also is a little bit different. And the one thing, even when COVID restrictions were all over the United States, Texas was letting up early. And my niche for the office furniture company is medium to small startups. We've killed it.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with all these people that were loyal to these companies and always wanted to start their own business but never did because they were scared. And then they found out, look, in a day's notice, COVID came and I got fired for a company I worked at for 20, 30 years. So we've seen all these people that used to be in the workforce starting companies right now. And I don't think COVID's going to slow them down.
I don't either.
I really don't.
It won't be
Not in Texas.
I hope you guys are right, man.
or Florida.
Hope you guys are right. Really, the reason that we wanted to have David on, or that I did, selfishly, was because I think where you're at now, when we go backwards in time and we talk about where you've come from,
It's amazing.
Yeah, man, and there's people that need to hear stories like y'all's. Actually, all three of y'all, really, because it's inspirational, and you never know when somebody hears something. Too many of us keep things inside that could be beneficial to others because we're worried that like maybe it would.
Like you might not be friends with them anymore. They might look down on you.
Or it's embarrassing or whatever.
I don't give a fuck. They're not paying my bills.
Yeah.
If I can tell my story and it reaches one person and helps that individual, I've done my job.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, and
I can't, people are going to judge all the time. I can't stop that.
yeah, and that's one thing for me for sure is that I had to stop caring what people were going to think about my past.
I was a people pleaser,
life, right? And that was huge. But seeing you post, right, and talk about your story made me, throughout the years feel a lot more comfortable thinking to myself, like, wait, you know what? That's my past. Who cares what anyone's got? Like, it's not the person I am now. Like, I'm a totally different person. And
I believe that's what made you, David, and made you, Nico,
and
made me too. And I've realized, and we were talking about not drinking a little while ago, and that in the beginning I didn't really say anything, but now when I say I don't drink, people are like, man, really? That's awesome, So I don't mind telling my story either, because look how much of a fuck up I was, and I'm paying my karma back on a daily basis now, trying to do the best I can, but it's because of all those bad decisions, it let me know how important a good decision was.
Damn
it
right.
really did.
Damn right.
So, let's go backwards a little bit.
Let's go.
Let's see it.
So, David, from what I remember you saying, you had a 9-year prison sentence.
Yep.
What was the prison sentence for?
Okay. Let me go a little bit further back.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, obviously, some people don't know that are going to watch this. Or I went to Klein High School with y'all. I graduated in 98. Grew up in a great family. My father unexpectedly passed away in 2000, May 6th. That was a killer. All right. That affected me like no other. When he passed away, it became not the nice David anymore. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I'll do what I want to do. Nobody's going to tell me anymore because I lost my dad. Very immature, irresponsible, So I should have been there even more for my family than it was, but it is what it is. You learn from it. So started getting heavy into drug use. My drug of choice back then was ecstasy, when ecstasy was at its prime. And my problem back then was not only the drug use and the alcohol use, but going to the damn clubs on 1960. Because y'all know, 1960 was the hot spot. You had fucking bars and clubs everywhere. I mean, in rich neighborhoods around, everybody pretty much was partying.
It's not the same.
No, it's like a freaking war zone now.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So I couldn't stay out of those places, and I started getting introduced to drugs, ecstasy, coke, you name it. Then the kicker came around. So a lot of people don't know this, but when ice, which is the purest form of methamphetamine, hit the streets, it was a game changer. And I got told by the people that I was getting my shit from, this drug right here, be careful, because it's going to turn people, it's going to turn them out. Like literally, like they're going to do whatever they can for that fucking drug. Don't get too attached to it. And if you're doing cocaine, they're not going to do cocaine anymore. If they're doing ecstasy, they're not going to do, this is what they're going to want. It's that addicting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it was not your bathtub crank. I remember that exact same time, and I was told the exact same thing. It was.
It looks like you take you break,
diamonds.
Yeah. You break up glass and it shards up, diamonds, all that shit. I mean, it was bad, and I got fully addicted to it.
I would compare it to almost stronger than crack, like the instant thing, like the instant feeling, where like original speed would keep you high for. It might take a little while and keep you high for days, but this stuff will hit you
instantaneously.
Yeah, change the whole drug game, really.
Yeah. One thing I really remember about that drug too is you would do it and you would start a project and you wouldn't finish it, you'd start something else, you wouldn't finish. Like it had your mind all fucked up. But yeah, it was crazy. So then I started getting heavy into that. So then I'm reselling, I'm using, and it's really taken full effect in the streets of Houston, and it's really everywhere. And I would always give you a little rundown. Y'all don't know this. So being a drug dealer back then, I was paranoid. People always be like, man, why are you so fucking paranoid? Because I don't want to get busted. I always knew when the sheriff's department was after me, because they ran in on me when I had my apartment. I got my shit out and nothing happened because they didn't find anything. Precinct 4 knew it when they were after me, constables. I got busted by the DEA. I never saw that shit happen. They had my phones tapped, And when they got me on one phone conversation, talking about a QP of fucking ice. I lived back at my parents' house in Jamaica Forest, and I remember that day like it was fucking yesterday. August 4th, 2004. Had some people in my house waiting for my dealer to come. She showed up, and literally within 2 minutes, they're breaking down the front door. We run out the back, and there's helicopters. They're coming over the fence, and I'm like thinking, so my whole mind right now is going, what's in the house? I mean, is there any drugs in the house? I know I got water bombs because I smoke weed, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, I'm good. You know what I mean? So they start trying to question everybody. I don't want to talk. And some people there were talking. Long story short, they took us to jail, and they didn't take us to Harris County. They took us to FDC, Federal Detention Center downtown. I stayed there 6 months before I got indicted.
Wow.
Damn.
They didn't catch me with any drugs. I mean, a phone conversation. And then they had my guy, literally, that I was getting shit from as well. That was one of my good friends at the time. He ratted on me, and 10 years. So
Your supplier.
My supplier is from Dallas. My partner on the streets.
Okay. All right.
So just say that one more time. So you got caught and they gave you 10 years.
Yeah, my statutes were 10 to life, and if I wanted to get under 10 years, literally I had to fucking rat, and I wasn't going to do it. So I did a little bit over 85% of my time, because in federal prison there is no parole, none. So literally I was waiting on a drug program to get out, and I finally got out like right at 9.
Real quick before you finish that,
Yeah.
just so people understand, because typically I think people think when you get a sentence like that, it's because you've had priors. Did you have any
None.
priors? No priors.
No priors, no felonies. I got in okay, so real quick, I got in trouble with a certain somebody that we went to school with. This very popular badass motherfucker passed away on the motorcycle, and literally
Mike Sheppy. We'll
Yeah,
say his
what
name.
you say? I got in trouble.
Love you, Mike.
I love him too. I got in trouble with him. He got some wheels for me. I waited like 4 weeks to put the damn things on my fucking car. I got arrested at school, had a 3rd-degree felony, and I beat the case because they didn't have serial numbers. They had fucking curb check marks, and you know I can say it now because 7 years statute of limitation.
Yeah.
We beat the case, and my parents were pissed. They had to spend like $15,000, get a wipe, and then expunged.
But bottom line, you had
I
no
had
prior.
nothing. No.
No convictions.
No, I just got out of the service.
Yeah.
You know, no, nothing.
Wow.
10 to life.
And so, man, that's a lot of time. You said you did 85% of it.
Yeah.
What was your? I was just going to ask you, Kevin.
No,
you
I'm really curious.
What was your mindset like?
What was your mindset when you came in?
Yeah.
And what was your mindset when you came out? And tell us some of the ups and downs through that process, because there's some people here that understand what you've gone through. So
Okay, no. So my mindset when I first got busted and I was in FTC was, okay, I'm not going to rat, but I'm going to, since I don't have any priors, I'm going to try it, because they were promised me I'd get bond. And then I found out the only way I'd get bond is if I ratted. Well, if they would have gave me bond, just said, hey, here's a PR bond or whatever, and I could have got out, my mindset was, I'm going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm done. You know what I mean? I ain't doing this shit. Fuck that, you know? Then I realized, okay, I'm not fucking gonna, I'm not gonna get bond, so now I gotta deal with this shit. And I'm telling you right now, attorneys for federal cases are expensive. So my attorney that I had for that case with Mike Sheppy, for those wills, he wanted $50,000 for a retainer. And my mom said, fuck you, I ain't doing it. Get a fucking public defender. So that's what I did. And this public defender barely did shit. But he was like, oh, this is your first offense, and I think we could get you under 10. You know what I mean? So let's look at 60 months. You know what I mean? That's 5 years. We'll look just have in your head 60 months. You're prior military, you grew up in a good household, you just got off track as your father. We'll explain that to the judge.
You served in which?
Navy.
Okay.
Yeah.
For how many?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So basically, I had in my head 60 months. All right, cool. I've already been here a year. We're almost there. I was still worried because I've never been to fucking jail, never been to fucking prison. And I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? I'm in a concrete box downtown, and I just want to get out.
Yeah.
So I go to plea out, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to plead guilty. So they plead you guilty first, and then they bring you back like 4 or 5 months later to sentence you. The judge was really cool. He's like, oh, I see that you're a veteran. I see that, you've served this country. You come from a good household. And I'm thinking, fuck, maybe 60 months, right?
Yeah.
I go back 4 months later. That motherfucker looked at me and he said, you're a danger to society. You didn't fucking cooperate with the United States government. Basically, you're a piece of shit. 120 months federal prison. I'm like, whoa. And then the U.S. Marshals come get me and take me off. My sister's there with a guy named Jeremy Anderson. He was a manager at 3 Cheers. We were really close. And literally, I'm like 120 months. I'm going 12, 24, 36. You know what I mean?
Figure it out.
Yeah, I'm handcuffed. And then I'm starting 10 years. So I start crying. I'm in the holding cell. I'm starting to cry. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? It was that quick. I mean, they get him in there and it's like, boom, gravel hits and that's it.
And you're how old at this time?
I'm 24.
It's like that's half your existence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I'm like, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Wow.
Like, oh my God. I couldn't even fucking believe it. So they take me back to the whole to the FTC. Then reality's starting to kick in.
Oof.
All right. And I'm like, okay, I got 16 months in and I got, so much more left. What the fuck? So my whole mindset is this. Okay, next time when I get out, even when I get to my first prison, I'm like, all right, when I get out, I'm going to get a job this time and I'm going to sell dope. That's my whole mindset. I had that mindset for about 4 years. And then after the 4th year, I was like, fuck this shit. I am not doing this. These motherfuckers can kiss my ass. I'm not doing dope. I'm not selling dope. I'm not hanging out with people that do that shit. Fuck that. So, I mean, I had enough of it. I mean, being told when to shit, when to go to bed, having people die when you're in there. It was a fucking...
Did you get moved around different prisons?
My first prison was FCI 3 Rivers, which is a medium high because of my time.
Locations, where are you?
I'm south of San Antonio. I'm by the border. So I don't go to camp. I go to medium high. I'm in there with lifers and fucking Mexican mafia and that bitch. I mean, there's fights, people get stabbed, and my asshole went like this when I first got there. I was like, holy shit. Like, this is shit you see on fucking TV. You know what I mean? Yeah. Population of like 6,000 and probably 400 are white people. The rest are Hispanics and blacks. And you're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, if shit pops off, it's fucking, here we go.
Did you have people trying to recruit you to Aryan Brotherhood?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I didn't do it.
Yeah, Frank had the same situation.
So that's one thing that that my father always taught me is don't be a fucking follower, be a leader. And why? Hate's a really strong thing, right? I don't hate, so, and I don't want to be told what to do and have somebody fucking tell me what to do till the fucking toe tags are on. Yeah. Because once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Blood in, blood out.
Yeah. So. But were you worried about your safety? Like,
at first I was because I was new to it. But I stayed at 3 Rivers. I stayed there for about 2.5 years. After about the first year, I really got comfortable with it. So I got in a routine. Go to my work out. There's no weight, so I just run, and go back and watch TV at night and rack it up at 9 o'clock. So it was just normal routine. Time started flying.
And if you stick to yourself.
Yeah, and I'd hang out with some people, but there's some fucked up motherfuckers in there. Like I don't want to hang out with a lot of them.
Yeah,
I don't want to be associated with it. I'm just trying to get in, get out, so I can sell dope again, right? And have a job this time. So then I leave there, and then in 2007 I go to FCI Bastrop, which is a low. My points dropped enough. I stayed out of trouble. This is probably one of the best prisons I went to because they had weights. The food was so much better. More white people, I guess you could say, because the shit pops off. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not racist or anything. But
it's hard in prison because they stick together by color.
Yeah,
right?
so, and you see the cultural difference in there. And, man, you didn't go in racist, so why come out racist?
Yeah, exactly.
Man. You see a lot of people change and become people they aren't, real quick.
Oh, yeah. Fake ass shit. So I go to Bastrop. They got weights, so I'm really happy now. This is when I really started taking up working out. There was some football players that got in trouble for drugs. There were NFL football players I was locked up with. I started training with them.
That's cool. Because I was going to ask you, like, how did you get into weightlifting?
Prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I would religiously go there every evening that I could if it wasn't locked down, and I would go literally fucking work out. So at that time I picked up a computer program called SAP. And I worked for a company called Unicor, which is a department of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And basically what I was as a procurement clerk, I ordered parts for CBP and Border Patrol. So all those trucks that you see on TV, the light bars, the trucks, all that shit, I ordered the trucks to GSA, ordered the light bars, I ordered the fucking sirens, all that shit.
So you're in prison doing these activities?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You're not getting paid?
$2. Premium pays $2 an hour. I started off at 75 cents an hour.
Which is different than the state.
State, you don't get paid.
You don't get anything.
Yeah, no.
So when you came out, what kind of
$4,000 I saved.
Yeah, the pay is nothing, but having the job there, it changed everything.
It did. I didn't know how to type. I learned how to type. I learned about computers.
Made the time go by.
Most definitely. And they'd have overtime on the weekends. I'd take it. I don't want to sit in a fucking dorm watching TV or fucking arguing with motherfuckers or playing cards and hearing them argue. You know what I mean? I want to Don't want to get out. Don't do my shit. Be done. Start the next day.
A lot of people in there trying to be the coolest guy in prison.
Oh, dude. They're fucking.
Look like an oxymoron, dude.
No shit.
Yeah.
No, there's people that's where they thrive the most is in prison. Like once they get out, they're nothing, you know, and they're waiting to go back in because they feel good about themselves.
People go into prison and they come in there with these fucking stories like they were the fucking man and they really fucking weren't, and they try to act like it, and then they get back out and you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I just tried to learn as much as I could learn. I even picked up an HVC air conditioning license at the first prison I was at. I mean, I kind of breezed through it because they let you breeze through it. They're just trying to make the money off of it,
right?
You know? But so that was my second prison, and then my last prison to do my drug program, I went to Beaumont USP, but I was at the camp, and that was a fucking complete nightmare. Yeah, there's no fence. You could leave if you want, but your ass is gonna get in trouble.
Wow.
But the food was fucking horrible. There's no weights, and everybody there thought they were a fucking killer.
Yeah, everybody's just snitching on each other.
Oh man. So you exit, and what's the first thing that's that you feel like, man, did you come out with a plan in place?
I was planning 2 years before I got out about a job. I was already worried. I was like, okay, I got a felony, so I can't get a corporate job. That's out of the picture. I need to find a job. So I was actually locked up. Have you ever heard of a company called Gold and Silver Buyers?
Yeah.
I was locked up with the owner, and his buddy and him promised me a job, and I started that when I got out. So I was set on that. So I went to the halfway house downtown. I got out February 12th, 2012. Went to the halfway house, stayed there for 3 months, and then got on home confinement, worked Gold and Silver Buyers, and then started that job with the web development company.
Man, you just had your 10-year anniversary of being out.
Yeah.
It's nice, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Do you think about that date? Like when it comes around, is it kind of like...
I think numbers are really important to me. So, whether it's a birthday, anniversary, death anniversary, prison, like when August 4th comes around, it's in my head. And when February 12th, it's just like, shit, you know what I mean? And then you start thinking, like, time goes by so fast out here compared to in there. You're like, fuck, man, that was like 10 years ago. It doesn't seem like it, but you're just so preoccupied out here.
So I know, because we've talked, that when you got out, you did drink, but did you do drugs? Did you dabble back in drugs at all?
No.
Nothing? Not even...
Weed.
A little bit of weed?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it then, like?
So I didn't drink when I first got out. I didn't do any drugs. I got with the individual that we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
Got married, and that was just fucking shit show because it was just drinking. And I'm not putting the blame on that person. Nobody forced me with a gun and said, here, you got to do it. That was my fault. And you know what I mean? I don't do it anymore. And I started smoking weed here and there. But the drinking is what really got out of fucking handle. And then April of 19, I was like, no more. I'm going through a divorce. I just got too much shit going on. I'm going to lose my business and literally quit. So I've been 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 years sober.
From alcohol. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's actually coming up, 6 more days. So
congratulations.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, did you go to like a group like AA or?
So the only thing that I had to do in prison, I did a drug rehabilitation program, and you're supposed to get a year off, and I only got like fucking 4 months off because it's so backed up, right? I took classes in there, and it's kind of like an AA, but you stay in a dorm with the people that are taking the class, and all day you're going to classes and you're learning triggers and red flags and
like a safe P type of thing.
Exactly,
okay.
Just like it.
They
emulated it. So
therapeutic community.
Yes, correct. You got mentors, like some of the prisoners. I became a mentor.
Yeah. The prisoners run the facility.
Exactly. Yep. You got your jobs in there. You don't have jobs outside. All that shit. And you got to pass it in order to go home. So that's what I did. That's the only thing. I didn't do AA or anything like that. But I think from doing so much time in prison, I had enough of it, right? Because I was fucking pissed off at myself for even putting myself in that situation, and then I lost all my 20s.
It's crazy.
And then
your entire 20s.
Yeah. And I couldn't be there for my sister or my mother. That I was just like, enough, enough. And I've ran into people that I used to fuck around with back in the day, and they're just as fucked up as they were back then, and I won't even fuck with them at all.
So even this being the most horrible thing in your life, would you say is one of the best things that happened to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I agree too. to a lot of this, because what we did, and we were talking about this earlier, made us who we are. So.
Most definitely. When my father passed away, my mother was having a hard time as well. All of us were. My sister as well, and I didn't have anybody to really raise me, so prison grew me up. It really did. Yeah. Now, if I could go back and change shit and not do the drugs and be there for my family and try to, yeah, but who knows? You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I don't look down on it. I look at like a positive thing in my life, and I'm trying to help other people. Like, I have people reach out to me all the time. What do you do here? What do you do there? Well, I mean, first, it's who you associate yourself with.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to associate with people that are going to fucking dibble and dabble in drugs and sell or whatever, you're going to do it. Take yourself away from the situation,
Absolutely.
Even with alcohol. You're going to hang out with people that are going to fucking drink and party it up and do all this shit. You're probably not going to amount to shit in your life, and you're going to fucking literally want to party and eventually get in trouble. So, I mean, it's product of your environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's funny. That reminds me of a way back Wednesday story. But, man, so, dude, obviously, if you know David and you follow him on Instagram, dude's jacked, bro.
I used to be.
I'm gonna zoom in on those biceps.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
just. Zoom in. There
I
you
tried.
go.
He's actually on 390 milligrams of caffeine right now from his
Pre-workout.
Flex
Yeah.
it one more
Yeah.
time. Let's
Yeah.
get it in
Oh,
there.
yeah,
I tried.
Yeah.
Man, I'm trying to grow these legs, man. Like, David is one of the. There's two guys that inspire me to lift weights, man. And David is one of them. Like, every time I see them, it motivates me to go, man, I gotta do harder, man. I gotta grow these quads, bro. I gotta grow these hamstrings. But, man, you got pictures where, like, your freaking veins are sticking out of your quads, dude. And I'm like, what the hell, man?
That was pretty much during COVID in my prime to where, and that's another thing. I'll get on that. But so during COVID, I could have took it and got depressed and maybe fell back into like drugs or alcohol, which I didn't want to do. So I made myself, at the time I was working out in the garage, and then when they opened back up, I started going to the gym, and I just fucking fell in love with it again. Right? Kept me motivated. I think when I work out, I love helping out other people. I'm not a coach by any means, but I like.
He's coached me.
We've worked out,
Yeah.
yeah. And I've picked up some good things, and certain things work for certain people, and I have a tendency of picking up, on the people that really know what they're doing, and it's helped me, and it's kept me motivated, and like I started seeing changes in my body, and I was like, holy shit, dude, why didn't I do this a long time ago? I could have been on a fucking football team at Klein. You know what I mean? Like, shit.
I didn't have to miss my 20s.
Yeah.
And you rep product, man. Like, you were so into it at one point that, like, dude, how does that work? People seek you out, they see you working out, or what, you're just in circles.
So what it was is when I first started doing that, it was a company called Blackstone Labs, and I still use their products. I've used a lot, but their products are pretty legit. I started getting hooked up with this girl and this guy that was in my area in Cyprus, and she's sponsored by them, and I started doing their products, and then I got in touch with one of their sales reps, and he's like, you got an Instagram page? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, let's try to build your following, and we'll give you a discount code, and if you really like this product, push it, take pictures, say what it's doing to you, discount code with your Instagram handle, and I started doing that, and boom, just fucking took off. And I think what it was, it gave people, it's like, damn, look at David now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, this is really working.
Yeah.
And it's not fucking gear, meaning steroids. You know what I mean? Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
So, and then I'd swear by that shit. It's like, it's like selling dope. You know what I mean? It's exactly like that. You know what I mean? You got a good product, you're gonna push that shit.
Using that dope peddling mentality.
Well, it's just like in sales right now, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's that hustling.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
If you
it.
got a fucking product, you got an end product that's fucking good, and you know how to fucking sell it, you're gonna fucking make a killing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like, I'm sure when you got out, mentality of like, because through your 20s, it was more of like slanging full time, right?
Yeah.
Hustling full
Yeah.
time. Because for me, it was like once I got out, I was like, you know what? No more hustling, right? If I focus fully on work, I know I can do something, because I wasn't college educated. I didn't go to college,
Me neither.
So I was like, man, I know if I hustle hard, I can do something,
Yeah.
So my dad said something funny. He was like, "You didn't go to college, but we paid for your degree and lawyer fees."
So once you got out, you like your mental kind of switch of like, I'm gonna hustle full time and I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't matter what the product is. If
Yeah.
you got the hustle, you got the hustle.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in you. It's in you.
Yeah.
Somehow I ended up in furniture, but they were like, "How'd you end up there?" Like, who cares? I'm making money now.
Yeah,
you know,
just fucking selling the shit out of it. I mean, like you're forced in a situation where you gotta, like I was living on my own, selling dope, and I'm like, okay, I can either fucking continue to fucking party and not have a roof over my head and live on somebody's fucking sofa, or I can fucking have a nice apartment or try to have a nice apartment, and I know it's wrong, but sell this shit, and and then it evolves into where I am today. I'm like, okay, I'm not on a 9-to-5 job, nobody's giving me a paycheck. I kill for my own food, you know what I mean? So let's fucking kill it.
Yeah. That motivation is big, man.
Big time.
We got what, like 16 minutes left?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I like to hear
'cause
about way back Wednesday.
yeah, I want to get to his way back Wednesday story.
Man, shit.
So
We're
he's
right
got-
at the 45.
Everybody knows we have these way back Wednesday segments. We always have the guest if they have a story.
I got a ton of stories. Y'all probably have to call me back like for the next year.
Yeah, man, let's do it, dude.
I'm
we should just have like one episode of nothing but way back Wednesday stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, so hit it with us.
Okay, so I don't condone anybody doing drugs. Yes, I was there. Literally, I know what to look for. I don't hang out with that shit. This is a drug story. It just scared the shit out of people, especially now. Back in the day when I was partying and dealing and shit, there was no fentanyl, right? You didn't have to worry about that. But you did not, if you didn't know how to dose your shit, then you would OD. So I go meet this guy at 3 Cheers, which is off Kirkendall, and I get GHB.
What's the date?
This was 2002, the end of 2002, so it's probably like October of 2002.
Yeah.
I go meet a guy named Jason at 3 Cheers, and I get GHB, which is gamma hydroxybutyrate. People take that, it's a sedative. They take it. It was a party drug back in the day, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's fucking Liquid X." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up."
So we talked about the GHB with Jason Klotz.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And he OD'd on it, and they tried to get him off the boat and dropped him in the water.
He was
drowned
clinically dead.
Clinically dead from the GHB.
Okay, I got a good story for you too.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
No, just a frame of
dangerous.
reference.
This shit is fucking dangerous, and they're making it. Back in the day, they couldn't get it from a fucking doctor. They were making it with shit under your fucking cabinet, like chemicals, like that, like fucking floor stripper, right? So you go get this shit, and it'd be in a blue vial. The blue vial was like really dark, so you couldn't see in it. You'd eye drop it. You're not supposed to drink on it. It's supposed to help you go to sleep. A lot of people that were doing steroids back in the day and bodybuilders, they take this shit because it helps them calm down and go to sleep. A lot of the party scene people take it because they think it's Liquid X and they get fucked better. I don't know, and they got their own shit, But
it started with the bodybuilders. Gravitated to a
the
party
date rape.
Yeah, date rape.
I feel so much better with this shit.
People are slipping that shit in women's drinking and fucking raping them. Fucking sad as shit.
Oh, so it makes people fall asleep?
Yeah, you're out.
That's different than what I thought.
I went to 3 Cheers and I got it, and I didn't get it in a blue bottle this time. I got an Ozarka bottle, and the bottom of the Ozarka bottle is about 25%. It's liquid. I'm driving down 1960, and I lived at Willowbrook, behind the movie theater, across from Sam's Boat at the time, at the Veranda Apartments. I'm driving, and I'm sipping on it on the way home, and the shit was fucking it always was disgusting. It's like a fucking salty liquid. It was disgusting, right? Robbie Johnson OD'd on it with me at one time. I had to help him out. Like, it was fucking crazy. So I get home.
Shout out, Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie. Sorry.
Next week we should be throwing out everybody's names, whoever did anything with us.
So here's the deal. I get home and I start noticing, I'm like, I've only had like 2 sips, and I'm like, something's not right. And my girlfriend at the time, she's out partying people at Pete's place, and I'm like, fuck, dude, something's not right. I don't feel good. I'm getting like hot sweats, and I'm feeling like my eyes starting to blotch black, like I'm gonna fucking black out. So I get in my fucking Jetta and I drive to my friend at the time, Mike's house. I barely make it to fucking Bama North Houston by Klein Forest, because that's where he lived in those townhomes over there by where the Safeway and the Garlands was at.
Yeah, that's where that's at.
Yeah, I went to Wonderlic with him.
Yeah.
So literally, I barely get over there, and I'm struggling to get to the fucking door. I knock on the fucking door, and he opens it, and he's with his friend. He's like, "What's up?" I said, "I need to lay down," because I wanted to be with somebody. Because something told me if I would have went to sleep at the apartment by myself, I would be dead. I walk up the stairs of his townhome on the loft, and before I even make it to the bed, boom, head first, hit the fucking ground, break my fucking nose. The fucking chandelier right below falls off the fucking ceiling on the ground.
That's a hard
They
fall.
run upstairs. My heart stopped. They called 911. They had to fucking resuscitate me. I wake up in the hospital a day and a half later, fucking OD'd on that shit. And then I'm 2. They bring me 2, right? And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And was like, oh shit, I kind of remembered what happened. I was like, oh, I was out and somebody put something in my drink. No, we heard that you know, different story. I was like, no, are you trying to kill yourself? I'm like, no. They wouldn't even release me. I had to rip the fucking goddamn the IVs out of my arm and walk out. Yeah.
Oh, they thought you were trying to commit suicide.
They were gonna try to fucking, you know, put me in a fucking
mental institution. Yeah.
So that's my story.
Wow.
If it was bad then, it's fucking bad now. I wouldn't trust that shit. I mean, I couldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and I almost died. Like literally, like I really did. They brought me back. You know what I mean?
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, I was a nutcase.
Yeah.
Literally. I didn't give a fuck.
So this is a perfect testament of where you can start and where you can finish, man. Because that shit can kill you. I drank a whole water bottle full of it one time, not knowing how much to take, and I didn't know deep, but that was not a pleasant experience.
No,
it was not
at all.
So this stuff is made. It's like that's what it's specifically for. Like
no, it's made or was made for bodybuilders to sleep in recovery, and then it kind of graduated into a party scene drug.
And then a fucking date rape drug.
It's fucking dangerous. If you're watching this, do not do GHB.
So you don't like hallucinate and nothing like that.
No,
it just makes you
like you just.
Kevin liked to. He drank the whole bottle. He wanted to get date raped all night.
No, you just get fucked
or like
up to where it's
yeah,
like you don't
want to
get
get
to drink
for days.
because when you drink on it, it slows your heart down even more.
Okay.
So me and my dumb ass was at fucking, you know, before I OD'd on it, I'd be at Sam's Club fucking having that damn bottle dropper in my hand and just doing this.
It's like taking five Xanax.
Yeah.
5 Xanax. It's a soul taker.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's some bad heavy
horrible
stuff.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
We're glad you're alive.
Yeah,
we are. We're glad people can hear that.
We're glad Jason's alive. He almost died on it too.
Yeah,
so I mean,
a lot of people dying on it.
If you get one thing from this show, don't do GHB.
And it's sad. We talked about this before you even came in. Yeah, like because we were just talking about being at Brandon's the other day, and Brandon's told us a different situation. You know, just the frequency in which our friends are passing away is going to increase the older we get. But unfortunately for us, we know people who have died from drug overdoses. You know,
a lot from our
right? You know, and it's freaking sad, man.
Yeah.
You know, so
you know, real quick, and I'll leave it off on this note, just for me. You know, we went to a very prominent, rich school.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
It was known in the country.
And our neighborhood was the Woodlands because there was no Woodlands back then. It was McCullough. None of us would take our ass bed and we're going to party like at a keg party with them fucking rednecks out there. That wasn't going to happen, right? So our area was the area, but it's so sad because you had all that money in that area and there's so many people that got fucking...
Man, I will agree with that. So I grew up in Aldine and like all of us, we went to Klein and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But there was more drugs and alcohol there and some of my friends had $100 a week allowance. I was like, what the hell is
people
this
going
place?
to jail for prison for fucking murder and all that, you know, Eddie and all them. Older, I mean, it's like, dude, it was crazy. My freshman and sophomore year, the shit that I saw was like, what the fuck? Like, I look back on it now, I'm like, it just doesn't even seem right for that area.
It didn't, man. We came from Wonderlick. I couldn't get into KF because I had gotten in trouble and they wouldn't let me in. And my mom was so scared of that area because of all the trouble I was already getting into that she was like, I went to juvenile detention center. I did 9 months. And when I was about to get out, my mom was like, we're moving. Yeah. And I'm like, what? We're moving? Like, why? You know, she's like, because you freaking are crazy and we have to get out of this area. Well, it wasn't the people that was around, it was me, right? Yeah. I'm the one that was leading the group, we had gangs and all that way. But when I get there, my freshman year at Klein, I'm on SOS probation, which is the hardest juvenile probation there is. And I had, I think, 18 months still to go, or maybe it was less than that. But so they would come visit me at Klein every week
to check up on me.
Yeah. But once I got off probation, dude, I think Klein was, because the people had money, you know what I mean? So my sophomore year, like I started moving weight, you know, moving pounds of weed and selling bags at first, you know what I mean? And then it just went from there, and then it was like, because the people there they had the money, so it was like it was a worse, I think, for me there.
I mean, back when I lived in Inwood, the worst thing we'd ever done was drink and done weed.
Yeah.
When I come to Klein, it's cocaine for a whole year,
acid,
opium, freaking PCP, dude. Like where is all this coming from? You know?
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it was. I was the same thing. In middle school, the over there in Climb Forest area and Northcliffe Manor. It was that like drank a little bit, smoked a little weed. I was in middle school, but once I got to high school, it was everything else. And I didn't even do coke, I think, until after high school.
Yeah, me too.
But I was selling it,
It's fucking wide open there.
You're talking about Coca-Cola, right?
It's wide open over there.
Yeah.
Wide open.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, I don't have kids, but we're all become kind of successful, and y'all have kids, and that's something to be aware of. That just because you're in a nice area and a nice home, you still need to watch your kids because they can be in the most danger. They really can of stuff like that. And we're talking about depression and drug use, man. Just because you're making it, keep an eye on those babies.
I have told my oldest, who turns 14, Noel, happy birthday
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday!
Happy birthday!
I've told her, look, Daddy will revert back to a killer. I'm just letting you know right now that if you get mixed up in a crowd where they start to get you on drugs and strung out, I'm not just talking about like marijuana or anything like that, but I'm talking about like if I start, just know people will disappear.
Yeah.
People will disappear, and it'll be because of you.
You're responsible for
if you don't want people to disappear, she's like, you would really kill. What if it was a girl? And I was like, I'm just telling you.
I'm a feminist. I'm a feminist. I kill them too.
It's crazy because now, like, I don't know for you. I'm probably sure it's the same. Like people at work, right? Will look at, like, for me, right? Or like, oh, Mike's a straight edge guy. Like they have no idea of my past. You know what I mean? And it's like they have no clue. And I'm not out there trying to like show, like, to prove anything to these people. You know what I mean? Like I don't have anything to prove.
My situation is a little bit different though. So I think I should get a tax credit for second chance felons that work here. We have a lot of second chance guys here, and I'm a second chance guy, or third, whatever you want to call it. But man, I think telling that story to my employees is important. And letting them know, hey, this is where I came from, and you can get
hope.
there.
You can be
There's
a
hope,
success.
And I
There's
think a lot of
light
my
at the end of the
guys
tunnel for
respect
sure.
that, and I'm not just their boss. I'm more of a confidant to them, and
They look up to you more for that.
they do, and they know that it's possible. And stories like yours, David, can show other people. Stories like Mikey and Nico, that just because you've made wrong decisions doesn't mean that you're a wrong decision. The decisions don't make you. You can change those and become another person, man.
We get off
really
track,
powerful.
but we can easily I won't say easily, we get off track, but we can get ourselves back on track with the right help. And it starts with who you hang out with and asking for help.
I want to say one other thing too, which I think is really important, is I really respect our family environment that we all have, and I think that was a big part of us changing in that support. And people that don't have that sometimes don't make it out like we have, and I think that's a really important thing. I really do.
I completely agree.
Man, David, I think I said this like on a post one time, man. Dude, David's got a great heart, man. I'm glad to get to know him better. Because we knew of each other, obviously, running around.
I knew your brother
like
more.
Yeah. But getting to know you afterwards, because, man, you and I would have conversations, even like, if not in person, but over the phone or something like that.
Yeah.
And David wants to help people who are struggling.
Yeah.
And so I thought, man, this would be a great way for that to happen. We got to wrap up here in a few minutes, man. But just for a second, if you can think about it, and then we'll talk so you gather a minute here. But if you had to give somebody just one or two pieces of advice, for recovery, how you recover from drug or alcohol use, how your path can go from, a 10-year prison sentence to being successful. What would you say to them? So I'll leave you with that. Kevin, how much time do we have?
I have time enough to say a couple things. So yesterday we went and honored our homeboy Brandon Rose, and it was a really powerful moment. Brandon died of cancer, and we were all out there. And man, we love you, Brandon. And it was a rough day yesterday, but we got to see a lot of people out there that we've ran into. And take care of your body. And man, it was a sad day. And Brandon, we love you. I just want to say that one more time on the air. So
yeah. So man, if you would.
So what I would say is, if you have a problem, you have an addiction, and you need help, okay, let your fucking pride down. get the fucking help. Talk to somebody, whether it's a good friend, a homeboy. You know, I understand how it is. You know, you don't want to go talk to your parents. You don't want to go, you don't want to let them down, but you don't want to hear them bitch as well, right? Go get help. Literally open up to somebody and tell your story so that you can receive the damn help that you need, because that was my issue. I thought my pride was just too much. You know what I mean? And, you know, I know you might hear this shit about, oh, it's all about a positive mindset. Okay, whatever. You can be positive, you can be negative. But I totally believe whatever you put out in the fucking universe is going to come back to you tenfold, right? So also believe that whatever you're going through, it's going to get better, right? It's not the fucking end of the world, you know, and that goes for me and my business. You know what I mean? I'm like, I constantly do the 3-6-9 method, where I'm doing affirmations 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, 9 times at night. And I'm putting those affirmations out there about, and I'm just constantly, my mind's thinking about that. So use that towards the drug use as well, and start, you know, putting it out there that you will get better, you will seek help. And it, like I've said multiple times tonight, it starts with who you hang out with. And if that means you got to be by yourself and not hang out with these people, so be it. Because when push comes to shove, these motherfuckers ain't gonna have your back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whether you go to prison or you die or whatever, it's over with.
Yeah.
You know? It's all fine and dandy when you're getting high and you're doing all this shit, and you whether you're selling dope or you're fucking buying it. But when push comes to shove, it's fucking over with, and it ain't worth it.
Yeah, like what you said, like the people that you surround yourself with, like if you tell someone, if someone really cares about you, and you tell them, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to be a part of that, I don't want to do that, but they are trying to get you to continue to do it, they're not your real friend.
No,
not your real
they're
friends.
not your real friend, and that you have to separate yourself.
They don't care about your well-being.
Mm-mm.
Man, so we're getting close to time, guys. And David, I just want to thank you for coming out and telling your story. I'd actually like to invite you back out, because the prison sentence and all that is a very impactful part of your life. But I think there's so much more to the story after that.
Yeah.
And you talked about your affirmations, 3-6-9. I mean, you have some powerful motivational things that you are self-taught and self-do.
Definitely.
And I think that's really important. I'd like people to see more of what's happened after this.
Yeah,
So
let me
we'd
know.
love to have you
Yeah.
back. Nico, take us out the show.
Yeah, I mean, we want David back. We can incriminate more people.
I slipped him out that one. Sorry.
No, here, where we
Sorry,
at?
RJ.
Okay. Listen, we appreciate everybody that's been watching. We appreciate Spotify listeners. Listen, if you can, hit subscribe, hit like. We really, we want to get this kind of stories out there to more people, and that happens through more subscribers, right? So we appreciate that. We'll have another guest on, and we'll put that information out there. We'll put all the stuff that we talked about for David on the YouTube.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of time to promote Exhibit a Boss, but I will
That's
have
fine.
all the information on there. And I'm going to be doing a booth, too, that Mikey's going to help me with, and maybe you can get involved, too.
Cool.
But we'll put more about that on there for sure.
Cool.
All right. So where we at? We're here? Here? Okay, you charlatans and harlots. We'll see you next week.
All right. We don't know Jack. Going all in.
I love y'all.
This is
This is fucking badass, man. I'll come back whenever y'all want. See, I might just come one time and just watch y'all do one.
That's what we're trying to do. We're
Shit,
trying
I
to
don't
set
think
like
shit, this is fun.
Kevin-
That's why we set that up
set
like
these
that.
chairs up, Kevin, so we can have people come, because there's people that want to just come and hang out.